2021 started with a lot of optimism. Yes, we had an attempted coup in Washington, D.C., but we successfully swore in a new democratically elected president. And the president and Congress set to work doing things to help put the nation back on track, and things that are very helpful to us here in King County. And so we were able to help a lot of folks who'd been put out of work by the pandemic, a lot of folks who were really struggling because of a year at that point of the world being turned on its head. And we've been able to see a lot of people get their feet back under them, but there are more who still need our help, and we are here to provide that help. One of the groups that, of course, has struggled the most are those who are unhoused. And this was a really important year in our battle to turn the tide on homelessness. Our Health Through Housing initiative, we've purchased now 8 hotels, getting ready to sign a purchase and sale agreement for at least one more in the coming weeks. And that is really directed at getting folks out of chronic homelessness into the places they need to reclaim their lives, to get their feet back under them, to be able to accept the services, the treatment, and more that's available. Looking forward to partnering with a new mayor and the city of Seattle on this, but of course we have 39 cities and every one of them is an important partner. A lot of the work we did this year was on sort of rethinking public safety in King County. The voters approved a measure to have the sheriff become appointed, and at the first of the year, I become the person who is responsible for appointing that sheriff. We have a great interim sheriff in Patty Cole Tyndall, and we're looking forward to hiring more deputies, being able to respond to calls in a timely manner, and doing the other work we need to do to provide a high level of public safety and give people confidence that they have a police department, a court system, an entire justice system that reflects their values. It's going to be an exciting year for that kind of transformation. The climate crisis is perhaps the single most important thing facing us. And this year, we implemented new green building codes. We're moving to help existing commercial buildings retrofit. And we are even going to begin a pilot program to help people convert their gas or oil furnaces to heat pump technology. And we've participated in building new affordable green housing to help people get into homes that are healthy for them and for the planet. The work around the criminal legal system is really wrapped up in our work to identify and dismantle systemic racism inside government and throughout the community, and that is a job for every American. And King County is taking that on with great seriousness. We put forward $25 million in grants to help communities that have been most disadvantaged through the pandemic. We declared racism a public health crisis and have convened a steering committee with Dr. Ben Danielson and Abigail Echo-Hawk to co-chair that with me. And we are working to really bring this front and center in all of the work that we do. I believe that we can help lead the country in finding a way out of the racist past that has slowed down America's progress. And finally, I guess I would be remiss not to mention transit. This is something I've put a lot of my time into over the years. And we got to open a new light rail station at Northgate, Roosevelt, and the University District this year. It was a proud moment and a big change for those commuters coming in from the north. But we're also electrifying the Metro Transit fleet. We've accelerated the date of full electrification by 5 years now to 2035 and broke ground on 2 new rapid ride bus rapid transit lines. That is maybe the most important and immediate thing this community can do, not just for economic development or to help individuals, but also for the planet, for us to reduce our carbon footprint in this county, to electrify transportation. So it was an exciting year. There's a lot more to come though, and I would be happy to talk with you about any of that.
As part of Health Through Housing, you mentioned purchasing the properties, and we already saw people moving into at least one of them this year. What can we expect in 2022 in terms of progress on that initiative?
We acquired about 850, and soon it'll be over 1,000 units. And we're getting those staffed up. We contract with community-based organizations to staff these places, and then they have to hire and train people. And then we're able to move people in 100 or 150 at a time off the streets, out of the tents, out from under the overpasses, into a place where they have 24-hour services, and they are able to get rested and begin taking stock of their lives and moving forward. So we can also fund some of the facilities the city of Seattle is standing up. So we should have, by the end of this year, up to 1,600 new units open, housing that did not exist a year ago. And in addition to that, 500 units of 24-hour-a-day enhanced shelter we're able to pay for through the federal assistance from COVID. That is just the first block. And I stood with the governor last week as he announced a proposal to invest some, I believe it was $800 million more from the state in housing and homeless services. And we would add that to this work that we're doing locally. And I think we're beginning to get to kind of critical mass here, where we can realistically think we can turn the tide on homelessness, particularly chronic homelessness, to get people off the streets and to establish a standard for ourselves and everyone that folks are not going to sleep outside, that folks are going to be housed, and that they are going to be able to get the services to deal with challenges in their life and begin to move forward towards self-sufficiency again. I'm looking forward to working with the new mayor of Seattle and with all of our mayors on that critical project.
Something else that you mentioned was all of the progress in the area of transit, the new light rail stations, all of the expansions. What can we expect in 2022 to be kind of the focus in terms of making sure that access is expanded, even in like more outlying areas?
We are busy at Sound Transit building out light rail to the east side, and that will open in 2023 all the way to Microsoft, and then soon after that to downtown Redmond, to Linwood, and to Federal Way, and then we'll continue on to Everett, Tacoma, and ultimately Issaquah as well. The challenge is really funding. I mean, Sound Transit has revenue sources the state created that are not terribly reliable, but they are keeping the project moving forward. The board is working on every angle it can to make sure that we get the rail built and built on time. One of my main projects for the year is to continue to work with the legislature, with the county council, with the Sound Transit board, including our partners from Snohomish and Pierce, to really focus on making the funding as robust and the financing as smart as possible, so we can get everything we need built as soon as possible, so we get the benefit of that, the benefit for the communities, the benefit for the climate. The sooner we build these this capital infrastructure, the sooner we'll be able to benefit from it.
We're looking toward the hiring of a new sheriff in the new year. What will that kind of process be like, and how might the community be involved in that?
So we launched a national search for a new sheriff in the middle of November, and that process will continue on here through January and February. I expect to make a nomination, an appointment to the county council by the end of March. And then the council will take several months to review the candidate and to make the appointment. And then we have a transition period, and I expect a new sheriff to be sworn in by the end of the second quarter of next year. We are looking for someone who is going to be able to lead the sheriff's office to help make sure that we are always able to immediately respond when someone has an emergency, and to do so in a way that is safe, in a way that is consistent with our values, and someone who's going to be able to participate with other criminal legal system leaders in creating the transformation we want. We want to get to the underlying challenges people, particularly young people, are having. We want to be able to get people back on track and not have them just cycle through the criminal legal system over and over again. That is the smartest thing for us if we want to create more public safety, and is the humane thing to do. And so we're going to continue to focus on that. Nobody is going to tolerate the kind of disorder that we've been seeing around our region recently, and you've seen in a lot of our cities. I think that we can, by really applying a system-wide approach, reduce the petty crime, the property crime, and increase the opportunities for people to reclaim their lives, to get back on track. And I think that's what all people in King County really want, is to make sure that everybody has a fair shot at living a full and productive life.
Is there anything else heading into 2022, specific areas of priorities or focus that you're kind of forecasting for the year to come?
I'm excited about this. The voters entrusted us to keep going. We're kind of the quiet, confident, steady government, behind the scenes, providing a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the systems that make everything else work. What we've been able to do is put some really strong leaders in place in all of our departments. So we're not having to do what a lot of folks do when they get elected and rebuild from scratch. We're ready to go. My hope is that we're going to be able to partner even more closely with other governments, with the private sector, and to advance some of these broad public priorities. And I mean getting folks off the street, getting our region cleaned up again. I mean dramatically accelerating our response to climate change, reducing our carbon footprint, and increasing our resiliency. I mean transforming the way in which our community and society works, so that your opportunity is not based on your race or your gender or any other accident of birth, but that you as an individual are valued and that you have a full and fair and equal opportunity to succeed. And that means taking a really hard look at our systems, our government systems, our private sector systems, and the way in which they have been designed to hold people back based on race. We can fix that. And just because we are helping remove those barriers doesn't mean some people win and some people lose. We can all do better. And I think that we as a community, we as a government are committed to that vision, as we say in our True North, of a community where all are welcome and every person can thrive.